So this never really happens to me, but this morning I cut myself when I was shaving my face. So if you look right here, there's like these red spots. I cut myself and I was bleeding and it was a hot mess. It never happens to me. What's up, YouTube? In this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about the 7 books that changed my life in 2016. But before we get started, let's talk about books itself, the subject. You see, growing up, I always despised reading, especially during school. Anything that required reading, like the textbooks, or you know what was the worst? Those mandatory summer reading lists. And they had all those books that you had to read over the summer. Oh my gosh, those were the worst for me growing up. I don't know if you can relate to me on this. Can you? But that's the old me. I used to hate reading, but these days, I love reading. It's actually one of my most favorite pastime hobbies. So you're probably wondering, where did it all change? At what point did you go from hating reading books to actually affectionately reading it every weekend or whenever I have free time? So you see, it all changed for me when I entered university and I started reading books on the reg because I didn't want to fail out. But more specifically, my passion and affection towards books occurred during the summers when I was a university student. And I would spend all freaking day, and this is not an exaggeration, I would spend all freaking day at a bookstore or even at a library. So whenever I had time in between my military training, so whenever I had the free time, I would walk on over or drive over to a bookstore and read, and just read as much as I could. So I would spend all my hours reading books, putting my nose into a book, specifically non-fictional books, books about history, biographies, psychological theories, anything of that nature. And this is gonna sound pretty cliche, but it really did change my life. Those 4 summers that I spent all day at the bookstores during my university days literally changed me and my mindset, my thinking, even my perspective on the world. It changed everything. And I just wanted to tell you guys one of my favorite quotes about reading books. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. For some of us out here, we spend many freaking hours at the gym. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's a BTS reference, by the way. Blood, sweat, and tears at the gym, trying to transform our bodies. But we neglect to cherish and nourish our mind. You see, the thing is, your brain needs exercise to stay strong and healthy. So if you're one of those individuals out there that are watching this video and you despise reading, I'm just saying, reading books could impact your mind, which could then transform your life. Impact your mind and transform your life. So if you want to transform your life for the better in 2017, then keep watching, because I'm going to give you the 7 books that helped change my life this past year. And to make y'all's life easier, I went ahead and put all the links to the books that I'm about to tell you down below in my description box so that you can click and buy off of Amazon. And I'll be honest, if you click and buy from the links that I put down below, then Amazon might send me some pocket change my way, and then I can use that money to buy more books and give you guys more recommendations. So it's a win-win all around. So are you ready? The first book is 30 Lessons for Living by Dr. Pilmer. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Out of the 7 books that I'm about to talk to you guys about, if you only buy one or read one, then this is it. But that doesn't mean the other 6 aren't as good, but I'm just saying, this is the one that's going to change your life the most. So what exactly is this book about? This book contains advice and wisdom from the American elderly. So this guy, Dr. Carl Pilmer, he went around the country interviewing people that lived in retirement homes, people that lived in assisted living areas, just basically all the old people in America. He interviewed them. And Dr. Carl Pilmer asked them all the essential questions to life. Because if you think about it, these people, the elderly, they live through life already. They have all the experiences, and they're a wealth of knowledge that we neglect to tap into because we're so self-focused on ourselves in this generation, day and age. So for this book, you kind of have to think about it this way. Imagine with me a room full of grandparents, and they're all telling you about their life experiences, their regrets, their tips and advice. But the key takeaway lesson here is they talk about their regrets and how to avoid them. Because if you're still young and you have a lot of life ahead of you, then you might want to listen to what the people that are nearing their deaths, what are their biggest regrets, so that you can avoid it. So for me, this is the best book on this list. However, the other 6 are pretty good as well, and I'm about to get into it right now. And the next book is The Art of Non-Conformity, and it's by Chris Gilbey. Gilbey? Whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. So this book left an impact on my life this past year because it gave me the final push that I needed to pursue this unconventional lifestyle that I'm living right now. So it had a very big influence on my decision to become a full-time YouTuber. So if I had to wrap this book up in one sentence, which I hate doing because you cannot really wrap up books in one sentence or less, I would say learning how not to give a damn about society's expectations of you and to escape the bubble that they put us in. I think that's the best way that I could describe this book. So if that makes you curious or tugs at your strings at all, then this is definitely worth the read. The third book on this list is How Successful People Grow by John C. Maxwell. So this is basically a handbook with tips and guidance on how to be a more efficient individual. It's a good fast read for students, professionals, or actually anybody in the working world. Or if you're not even working, if you're in a limbo state or transitional phase in your life, this is a good book to read. Reading this book can only benefit you. It's not going to hurt. And that goes for any book on the list of 7 that I'm describing. None of them are going to hurt you, but they can only benefit you and feed your mind better information and help you become a better person. But I'm gonna be quite honest with you guys. This book is a little dry and his writing style is kind of boring. So tackle it a little at a time. And my suggestion or opinion is that you should probably read a chapter at a time and reflect on it. Like take notes and reflect on it. If you try to read it all in one sitting, you might fall asleep. Yes, I fell asleep trying to do that. So book number 4 on my list is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And no, that's not my dad. But anyways, this book emphasizes the idea of not becoming a slave to money, but rather it talks about how to let money work for you. And the cool thing about this book is that there's inspirational stories sprinkled throughout the whole book. And because of that, it grabs and keeps your attention. And I really like Mr. Kiyosaki's writing style because it keeps you engaged and it's very easy to focus because his writing style is easy to read. So if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend that you check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, book number 5, I actually don't have a hard copy because I rented it at the library and I read it there. But I'll go ahead and put a picture of it right here, and it's titled The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And basically, this book just talks about how to improve yourself for everyday life. A majority of the book is common sense, but common sense isn't really common these days, you know what I'm saying? And the best part is, everything that he talks about, the lessons, it's easy to incorporate in your life right away. And when you read this book, I highly recommend that you take notes and write stuff in your own words so you can reflect on it later, because it's easy to forget about his lessons. Book number 6, I also don't have a hard copy of it because I rented it from the library and I read it and then I returned it. But it's titled Winning with People by John C. Maxwell, and I'll put a picture of it right here. Bing, ding, ding, dong, dong, dong. So this book basically gives you the lowdown on how to improve your interaction with strangers and how to improve and strengthen the relationships that are already in your life. And I don't want to give away too much about the book, but there's one thing that he wrote or said in the book that left an impression on me and impacted me. If you're one of those people that think that everyone around you is either stupid, cruel, or mean, you might be the problem. Just saying. It's hard news to swallow, but you might be the problem. Not everyone around you can technically be cruel. Statistically, it's impossible. So you might be the problem. You might be the root of the problem. You might be the cavity. So this book will help you self-reflect and ask yourself, am I the problem? So if you're not a fan of self-improving yourself or becoming the best possible version of yourself, then this might not be the book for you. Because this book will make you feel bad sometimes, because you'll be like, oh wow, I guess I am the person that's always argumentative. Or wow, I guess I am the person that's very negative. Or wow, I guess I am the person that takes the last slice of pizza and doesn't ask anyone else in the room and he just takes it. And the last book on my list, book number 7, wait, that's 2, what the heck? Book number 7, I actually borrowed from my church and I read about it, and it took me about a month to finish. So I would read this book during my commutes on the subway system in Seoul, because sometimes my commutes in Korea took anywhere ranging from 10 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes. So I would utilize that time to read, which I highly suggest that you do as well. So whenever there's like a waiting queue, or if the electricity goes out in your house like it did in our house last night because the winds were really strong here in the East Coast, then get a book and read. Anytime you have time, read. But anyways, I don't have a copy of this book because I borrowed it from my church, and then after I finished reading it, I returned it. So without further ado, book number 7 is called When God Writes Your Love Story, and it's written by 2 people, husband and wife, by Eric and Leslie Ludy. Now this book changed my life dramatically in the year 2016 because it changed my mind and opinion when it comes to dating. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a car salesman or anything, but this book right here is very pivotal. English. What is English? Can I even speak English anymore? But anyways, this book is very pivotal for anyone that's looking for a serious relationship. So I highly recommend it to anybody that's looking for a relationship that's going to last. But if you're looking for just fun, because this is the Tinder dating age, then go right ahead. You do you, boo-boo. I ain't judging. You know, people like to have fun. That's great. But if you're looking for something that's a little more permanent, stable, a relationship that's going to work in the future, then I highly recommend that you read this book, boo-boo. I mean, woo-boo. So there you have it. The 7 books that changed my life in 2016. So if you make it to the end of this video, I want you to comment down below. Impact your mind, and it'll transform your life. Impact your mind, and it'll transform your life. I really like that. As a matter of fact, I might even make that my catchphrase or motto, because that's essentially what I'm trying to do on my channel through my motivational videos, you know? I'm trying to impact your mind so that it'll transform your life. Well, there you have it. You saw the beginnings of how the catchphrase came to be. But also, if you make it to the end of this video, if you read one of these books before, then please comment down below and leave your thoughts or review and let the others know what you thought about it. And lastly, please recommend the book for me and for the other people that like to read comments. Are you like me? When I watch YouTube videos, I actually like to read the comments on the videos. I'm weird like that. But anyways, and lastly, please leave your recommendation of a book that helped transform your life, because I like to read books that will leave an impression on me and actually change my life for the better. So if you have a book like that you've read before, then please leave your recommendation down below. And I just want to thank you in advance, and I really appreciate it, because books are for the soul. That's what I think. Books will help transform your mind. But yeah, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope that you end up reading one of those 7 books. And if you don't like to read at all, then I highly recommend that you get the 30 Lessons for Living, the first book that I recommended on my list. Just buy that one, try it out, and read it, and see what you think. If you didn't like it, then don't ever listen to my recommendations ever again, and I will support your decision not to listen to me anymore. But I'm not trying to be cocky over here, but I'm pretty sure that you're gonna really enjoy reading that book. And sometimes you might get a little depressed reading it, but in the future, looking back in hindsight, you're gonna really be glad that you read that book, because you're not gonna make the same mistakes as those elderly people did. You still have the opportunity and chance to live life the right way. So while you got the time, why not read that book now, so that you don't have the same regrets that they do on their deathbeds? So we should thank them for giving us such a book full of knowledge and wealth of life. But yeah, I'm feeling a rant coming on, and I'm gonna go meet my mom right now, and I don't want to be late, so I'm gonna cut this video right here. Okay? I don't want to go on a 1 hour rant because I can talk to you for hours about life. And you know I can. Don't even try me, boo. Don't even try. Anyways, 오늘은 여기까지만 끝칠게요. 다음 영상에 만나요. 안녕. And have fun reading, guys.